So today I'm gonna show you how to launch an Amazon EKS cluster. Before launching an cluster, I explain essential networking. For example, where is your data plane? Where is your control plane? And then essential security. Do we need any role for cluster for work nodes? And then I launch an EKS cluster using CDK. And then I play with qctl command, and then I run the first application. So now let's jump in the essential networking. So when you use AWS EKS, right, AWS will create a control plane in an AWS account. Very important. Not your account, but AWS account. And in that AWS manage VPC and account, it create control planes consists of multiple instances and support auto scaling, right? At least it consists of 2 API servers instances across zones, and at least 3 etcd across 3 zones, and it auto scaling. So you have a better time. You don't have to worry about how you scale the control plane, how to patch, maintain, update. AWS manage it for you. And the second one is a data plane. So this one is in your account, and you have to create VPC for it. And then about nodes, right? How to create a node group. There are several options. The first option is you self-manage. You manage EC2 by yourself. You create EC2, and then you register EC2 to control plane, right? And the second option is AWS managed node group, and under the hood it is an auto scaling group, and I use these options. So I have easier time, right? So next one is very important, is this access endpoint. We have two options, actually three options. The first one is the public access endpoint. So developer can access control plane via via internet. Our second options, we also can set up private endpoint, and then developer need to go from VPC, via VPC endpoint to control plane, not via internet. And also nodes, for nodes to communicate with the control planes, it also go via the access endpoint here. But this traffic is not going through or traverse internet. It is inside Amazon. Sorry, I gonna. So this traffic inside Amazon. My pen is not very good. Okay, but I choose most simple options. I choose public access endpoint. Right. Now next to security. Okay. So EKS, right? Because via EKS service, our EKS service need to call API AWS services on behalf of you. So we need to attach a cluster role to the cluster. So the EKS service can call AWS services on behalf of you, right? And we need to attach a policy to the role, EKS cluster policy. Next one, it is easier to understand. Each node, right? Each node need to communicate with control plane. For example, each node need to pull download Docker container images from ECR. So we need, and also parts, you know, in each node can communicate with each other. So we need to attach at least 3 policies to node: worker node policies, container registry read-only policy, CNI policies. Right? This one is for node to download images from ECR. This one is so that pods, in node can communicate with each other. Okay. So now I'm gonna launch an EKS cluster using CDK. So let me show you the code. So I'm using level 1 construct. It is exactly same as CloudFormation template, right? So let me walk through the code. I already made it. So first I create role, right? This role is for cluster, right? And I also select subnet. I will launch my data plane in public subnet. So let me show you data plane in public subnet, right? So this line, and then I add, right? I add this policy to the cluster role. So this is cluster role, and then I create EKS cluster using level 1 CDK construct. It's same as CloudFormation template. Okay, so I choose I want a public access endpoint. I specify the version Kubernetes 125. I allow all the IP address can connect to the public access endpoint, right? I choose security group IDs. So this security group is for node group. This security group is for EC2 instance in node group, right? Okay, and then I enable some logs, and APIs logs, schedule logs, authenticator log, audit logs, control manager log, and then I create a role for each node. So I create role, this role for each node, and I need to attach 1, 2, 3 policies. So first, right, role, yeah, I attach policies, right, for node role, and actually 3 policies, right? You see, worker node policies, container R registers policies, and CNI policies. And this is I add an AWS managed node group, right? And node group role and subnets, public subnets, capacity on demand, and instant type, disk size, right? You can enable add remote access. You need to provide the add key or the key pair. And so this is auto scaling group configurations. Right? Desire 2 instance, max 5, minimum 1 instance. And another configuration about update. So for example, when you update Kubernetes versions for node group, so it's kind of rolling, right? Rolling update, and maximum unavailable instance is 1, right? And I can configure labels. Okay, so that's it about a cluster, right? Okay, I launch an VPC network, and then I launch the cluster, and let me deploy it again. Actually, I already deploy it. Now I launch it, no changes. I can show you in CloudFormation template. So this is the network stack. This is the EKS cluster, and I already shared this code on my repository in GitHub, and you can try it. So let me show you. This is a repository. Okay. Okay, so let's see our cluster. Yes, and we have let me show you from beginning cluster and then compute. So we got desire two instances inside a node group. Okay, so this node group with two nodes. Okay. Okay, no changes. So now if I can run kubectl get node, for example. But actually before you can run this command, you need to run the kube config update. Okay, so before you can run kubectl command, because I create the cluster via CloudFormation, right? So I need to run EKS update config. So I need to run this command. Let me show you. And I need to give the cluster name. So let me copy. This is cluster name and the role, CloudFormation execution role, the role which create the cluster. We do it, and then our terminal is gonna have the system master, and it can run kubectl. So this is the execution role which create the cluster. So let me update here. Okay, and then we kubectl get post A. Okay, now let me run. I delete first. Okay, then I show you. Okay, so I already have an hello service.yaml, right? I create a service type load balancer. I explain it in another videos, but basically, Kubernetes will create an classic load balancer in AWS, and then I create a deployment, two replicas, run an hello image, and set some CPU limits and requests, and then I also set the horizontal path auto scaler. So in next video I can show you how it auto scale. Okay, now just deploy it. Cube apply F hello. That's it. Okay, so it's gonna create some pod cube get pods, right? So two pods and cube get service. Okay, so this is the load balancer endpoint. Let me show you. So it will create an classic load balancer in AWS. Let's see. Where that? This one, right? Okay, this one. And we can curl to check is that working. Okay. Let me check outside here. Okay, so it working. I let me curl from here. Curl. Okay. And let me go back and check another one. We're gonna check the EC2 instant role, right? This one. And security. Okay, so this is the role with 3 policies attached to the node. Let me show you. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 policies attached to node. And this one, okay. And auto scaling group. Auto scaling group, yeah. So this is auto scaling group, right? I will show you later in another videos. I can configure the auto scaler, so when it fails to launch pods, it will add more instances. But I show it in another videos. So we come back. So I have launched an EKS cluster, explain basic networking securities, play with Q-Cattles, run the first application, and that's it. Thank you.